o'clock. We'll open this meeting. All the selectmen are present and looking good. We'll start with transmitting of Treasury Warrant 41, 41A, 42, and 42A.
Motion so moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous. We have no minutes to approve, so we'll start with our 7 o'clock appointment. Recognition of the Wilmington High School boys hockey team, players and coaches, Division II state champions, Wilmington Wildcats. Okay. I'd like to also recognize the superintendent of schools is here, Joanne Benton. I think I saw her over there.
Getting compromising photos to
At this time, I'd like to invite Steve Scanlon and Dalton Raleigh up to the table here.
You want to explain the month?
Yes, God, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did you want to have them start first, or did you?
Yeah. Good evening, Coach and Captain. Would you like to say a few words before we get started tonight?
I want to thank all of you guys for having us here tonight and recognizing the team. I know it's a big thrill for them and for me as well. And, you know, thank you for all the support you guys have given us and the town in general. It's been great. They've been our 7th player all year long, has been our fans, and it's kind of across the whole community. So thanks to everybody.
Very good.
Just thank you guys on behalf of the team, and it's an honor to be here and state champs, I guess. Right, guys?
The feeling's mutual. It was an exciting year, obviously, and when you guys beat Vancouver in Game 7 this year, it was unbelievable. It was great to be at the Garden for that game.
Did you want to select anything?
Sure. Anything, we'll start on there by select?
Yeah, I think I meet your approval tonight. Huh? No, just like the chairman said, congratulations. Very proud to see that the Wildcats became the state champs and owning the restaurant and everything. I've heard a lot of great things, people coming in. It was a lot of talk, so kind of kept quiet about this. By the way, I got this at the Joker's Wild, just to let you know. All right? And I said, I'm not going to spend the money my kids do on their Halloween outfit, but I wanted to at least get something. And it was a great idea. So once again, congratulations to the teams, the parents who, I'm sure since these kids were this high, getting up early in the morning, taking them to the hockey rinks day in and day out, it paid off. Right, guys? Super. Thanks.
Just to echo what's already been said, congratulations to you guys. It's a credit to your team and your parents and your coaches and your school. And when something like this happens, it really does bring a tremendous amount of pride to the town. So continue to be proud in the work that you did, and continue to make the town proud in the way that you carry yourselves going forward. Thank you.
Once again, just congratulations to each and every one of you. What an exciting time. You all came together, rallied together as one team. You had one vision, one goal to make it to the show, and then to come out on top must be incredibly awesome. Every morning that you got up for practices, the weekends, the nights, late nights doing homework and trying to rally to get into school, and to work with your coaches and come together collectively as a team was pretty awesome. I was able to see some of the videos that the parents took from the vehicles actually following you home. You got some real great footage that we couldn't see coming from different angles on the streets. So what an exciting opportunity for you all as a team, and also for your families. I know the parents and extended family members that are here, you've made some sacrifices throughout your personal life and your time with your work schedules to try and rally around your children and be there to support them. So this is not only a win for these young men and for the coaches, but also for all of you as parents and for the community at large. It's a tremendous example of the pride that once again gets brought back to this lovely town of Wilmington, and I just want to congratulate each and every one of you. For the coaches, you know, when you try and motivate young athletes to try and achieve and raise the bar every year, it gets more and more difficult to have graduating seniors and replace talent year in and year out. Certainly my hat goes off to each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication. Mr. Scanlon, you've put in so many years to this team, and certainly your family has a legacy in this town that your father would be very, very proud. So this is something where it's a total team effort for all of you and for all the coaches and for the families and for you as the student athletes, and my sincere congratulations. So thank you for being here.
I just want to say, I'll say congratulations, and Judy, you said it very well. I also want to say thank you. I had the good fortune of being able to be at that game, and the sense of pride, the sense of accomplishment that I felt watching you guys achieve your goals was wonderful. I think you have given Wilmington a real boost. Not that we necessarily need one, but it's when we can all get together around one common goal and really share in the success that you guys did. And more importantly, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to see Mike Kyra in a blonde wig. I think that's really, although Mike McCoy in the blonde wig is nothing to spit at either. So no, it's been a fun ride. We thank you all very much, and I think Mr. Newhouse said it very well. Is continue to conduct yourself in life the way you have as a team, and you're on to wonderful success in life. So thank you all very much, and congratulations.
Just for those of you that don't know, maybe watching tonight, it's become a tradition for the Wilmington High hockey team when they make it into the playoffs to dye their hair blonde and work throughout the playoffs. So we kind of come up with an idea that maybe the board could show our support, and that's why we came like this tonight. Although I think it looks good on Mike, and you gotta go with it. Would you like to say anything?
Invitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That's why we did this. It's the first time in about 45 years that I actually had hair in my eyes. New experience for me. I wouldn't do this to my own kids. I don't believe that I'm doing it. 22 years of trying to be serious right out the window after all this time. But it was worth it because what we're really doing is recognizing the unity that you folks brought to the ice each day, and the spirit and the camaraderie and the effort and the teamwork that was cultivated by your coaches. And so my congratulations. I've been following high school sports, as most of you know, try to get to as many games as I can in the various sports, and it's always a thrill to be there watching student athletes from Wilmington work as hard as they do. Win or lose, they always perform with character, and I think that's the greatest testament to all of you, and I can't wait to get this thing off my head. I feel like a cross between Donald Trump and Pepe Le Pew. But we do have a token of appreciation for you. It's actually a mug. Now, there was a production problem that is being taken care of right as we speak. We ordered a certain mug, and I hope you're gonna like them. It's a larger mug, and it has the wonderful photo of the team that was taken at the Boston Garden. And on the back it says Wilmington High School Boys Ice Hockey Division II State Champions 2012. The Board of Selectmen wanted to make sure that you would remember this and wanted to give you something other than a piece of paper that would get tucked away or thrown away. So we thought we would give you this. The one problem is that they didn't all arrive, and what arrived was a smaller coffee cup, and there is a difference. And I'm hoping that these become a collector's item that'd be tougher to get. We're going to give out 20 of these tonight, and then for the there are 23 members of the team, 4 coaches. The others are on their way, so we'll make sure that you get another one. As a matter of fact, we'll make sure that whoever doesn't happen to get these, and it'll probably be the coaches, Steve, we'll end up getting one of these and one of these. So you'll be able to have your favorite drink and a cup of coffee at the same time. So the chairman is going to make the presentations, and we're going to start. We're going to start with the seniors and begin with our captain, who represented the team so well, Dalton Rowe. Next, a senior on the team, Jack Mulrennan. Senior Trevor Foley. Senior Joe Russell. Senior Adam Siegel. Senior Frank Serbone. Senior Daniel Creedon. Senior Jimmy O'Neill. And the best manager in the Commonwealth, Senior R.J. Townsend. Juniors, Jake Rogers. Dylan DiNatale. The three-goal man, Cam Owens. Hey! Cam Collins. Brooks Carter. Brian Pickett. Joe Giroux. Joe's not here?
No, he's not here.
Hey, we got Joe's right here. Austin O'Neill. Anthony Castellano. We have sophomores, Drew Foley. Brody Curtis. Luke Foley. And these next two guys are gonna get two. Actually, they're gonna get one now and one in probably a week or so. And we'll make sure you get it. So Cody McGowan. Brendan McDonough. And now I'd like to call up the coaches. And I'm not sure if they're all here. I thought I saw assistant coach Jason Dango here, didn't I? Yep. And Mark DiGiovanni. Is Mike Cabral here? Mike Cabral here. Okay. And of course, one of the winningest coaches in Wilmington sports history and the Globe Division I Coach of the Year, and everybody else's Coach of the Year, Steve Scanlon.
Junior Brian Pickett, too.
Did I miss you? You got everybody. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. I hope I didn't miss anybody. We will make sure that we get to Coach Scanlon the other mugs for all of the coaches, the higher mugs, and then we have a few of these left, and we'll talk to the school department about what they might want to do with those. But thanks very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Mr. Carr,
We got
one
one
more thing.
more thing, man.
I'd like to present you with the state championship hockey shirt.
Oh, look at that. That's a beauty. Hey, that's
with your hair.
not bad for someone who can't skate, huh? Open it up again, this way?
With your name.
Which way did you want it? With the name.
New at this championship thing?
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. Thank you.
Beautiful. Guys, thank you all for coming in again. Congratulations. Nice job.
We'll see you next year.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Fun meeting. Hey, thanks. Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
See you guys next year. Let's do it again.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. 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 Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good to see you.
Sorry, am I in the way?
Like this guy.
Make sure you come shout about my acting.
You're missing me. He was going to contact you about it.
Schoolie, one more. Schoolie, right?
We've had enough of those, I think.
Let me see you, Schoolie.
You chill. You get a chance one day. Sally?
Getting your money's worth wear it every meeting, right? Yeah, let me write one.
That was great. Next on the agenda,
More fun.
yes, we have Nick Troy, Matt Palermo, and Anthony Vitale, the 9/11 Memorial Committee for the 9/11 Memorial that's going to be at the new Wilmington High School, and also with them is Social Studies teacher Tracy Kasem. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, guys.
You're on.
Take it away.
So our plan of the memorial is obviously a fundraise because we need money to get something built. So right now, what our main focus is fundraising. We've already started fundraising by creating T-shirts, which Nick is wearing, and selling them. We've sold almost all of them right now.
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
a
we
few
have
left. So we're doing good on the fundraising part. And so that's like what our main focus is. And we're also planning on doing more fundraising ideas, like the Livestrong bracelets, sort of like that, except create one for the 9/11 committee, obviously. Just so we can get more money, so we're not limited to what we can build for the memorial. And then once we have not really enough, but a good amount that set aside, that we can kind of figure out where we can go from there, about what we can build, what our limits are, then we will start talking about, as a committee, the design and the goal behind it. Because our goal is ultimately to teach people going to the school, especially future generations that weren't alive when it happened or weren't old enough to know what it's about. So that's like the ultimate goal, but it all starts with the fundraising.
Yeah, like Matt was saying, we plan on using the memorial to educate the next generation, the generations to follow. So we plan on putting it in the courtyard of the new high school, and the way the high school is set up, it's like a rectangle with a smaller rectangle in the middle, and we're gonna put it in there because that's where there's a lot of access to students and other people that would be going into the high school for other purposes.
And also,
the memorial, we haven't had a set design yet, so we're still like going over how we should make it look, what we should use. Like we had ideas about using like light, or Matt had an idea about using like different types of hats and about granite and what like materials we're going to be making it out. So we're still like talking about as a committee what we should do with that.
Yeah, we're definitely still in the process, especially after having the meeting with the architects, which definitely opened up our eyes a lot more to what will be, where we can build it. Because at first, when we thought about it, before we even talked to the architects, we thought definitely in front of the school, because maybe the courtyard won't get that much access due to like security reasons. But then once we talked to the architects and their plan behind the courtyard, how it's going to be mostly open for the public during like basketball games, and it's planning on being used a lot more than the one is right now in our school. We thought that the courtyard would be a perfect idea. That way, if it's in the front of the building, you won't have to worry about, unfortunately, vandalism, which people sometimes do, like the Coney 2012 in Boston, and like stuff like that. If it's in the middle of the courtyard, secure, one, you have the students that see it every day when they go to school, which is the ultimate goal, is the education. But also, when there's events, town events there, adults can see it too, that want to see it. So ultimately, the courtyard, we thought as a group that is the best location for it.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
I just want to say, I think it's wonderful that you even come up with this idea. And just to let people know at home, this is not something they just thought about last week. I've actually met with them 2-3 months ago to start the planning of this, and they've done a wonderful job, fundraising, and they're fairly passionate about keeping the 9/11 memory alive. And I appreciate what you guys are doing, your whole committee, and the teachers that are assisting you and everything. I really appreciate it. Any questions or comments or motion? No, I'm sorry. Any questions or comments?
Just pretty much the chairman said the same thing, and and a good sign of the whole thing is, even before we talked about a new high school, you guys talked about doing this even prior to any vote. So it shows that you guys were really enthusiastic about doing it, and it's a good feeling. And it's going to be your school, and I think you guys should have an ultimate decision. And obviously, we'd like to know it's at its infancy, and anything that we can do, as the chairman stated, we're there to help you. And my hat's off to you guys, and especially to the school.
Thank you.
No, thank you for taking your time and working on a project that's this worthwhile and so meaningful for really all our residents. But in particular, thank you for keeping in mind the generations that'll come after you, and the need to keep the the memory and the understanding alive relative to 9/11. So it's a great job. Keep it up, and thanks for being here.
Now, as Nick is wearing the shirts we created, Mrs. Benton was nice enough to provide you guys with your very own.
Mrs. Benton, all right.
Thank you very much.
And we also should mention that a student in our school actually was responsible for the design.
Designing that.
Yep.
That's
Thank you
right.
very much.
What was her name?
Savannah Hubbard.
Thank you.
Savannah Hubbard. Very nice.
We held the contest, and like we got to vote on which ones we thought would be better, and this one was the winner.
Now, I know the other selectmen had a couple of comments as well.
I just want to echo what was already said, saying thank you very much for doing what you're doing. My question for you, and forgive me if the information is out there and I just don't have it, is that if I wanted to find out more information, or other residents wanted to find out more information as to how they can support you, what would be the best avenue? Would it be on the main website for the school?
We have our own website, which is off of the main Wilmington High School, well, not Wilmington High School, Wilmington School District website. I believe it's on the front page. If you scroll down, there'll be like a link you can just click, and then from there on our website it says how you can donate, or what our goals are and stuff, and it just gives us a background of what our committee is ultimately about.
Excellent.
And also we have a Facebook and Twitter, if any of you like
And Twitter. Okay, good to know.
Of course. They're in high school.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's it. Guys, very impressed. I've met with a couple of you over the course of the last year or so, and just so happy that you've taken this ball and are running with it. So thank you on behalf of the entire town, and good luck. You mentioned that you had some conversations with architects or designers. Is there any thought yet, or are the are the discussions starting to formulate as to what the design will look like? Are we thinking artistic, architectural sculpture kind of thing, or more monument with some words on it, or some hybrid of that?
We kind of so far thought like a hybrid.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of ideas thrown around. For example, one was having the 2 towers, because there's not many memorials like that. It's either one or something relevant to it. So we think about maybe having 2 towers on either side of the walkway, but also having maybe a glass thing that with certain light angles shines through, maybe shows something. Also maybe doing like castings of helmets and hats, like the fire department, police department, representing each branch and type, well, not really type of people, but each group of people that were affected by it ultimately. So it's kind of at the night now up in the air, sort of. We're just kind of mixing in all the ideas, saying, yeah, that's a great idea. We can do something like that, and then combine it with this. And we also don't want to forget about the Pentagon and also the Pennsylvania Field, how people, when they hear 9/11, they think, oh, just the 2 towers. So we're trying to incorporate all of the fact of 9/11, not just the 2 towers.
And also to educate people, where we want to like add different messages and like telling people like what happened at this amount of time. So like future generations in the high school, like high school's gonna be here for a long time. We'll be able to see like at this time this happened, at this time this happened. So that's where we're going to the idea of Matt with the light and the glass.
Well, one of the architects brought up was with at like some memorials they'll have like sort of like just something up on top of a building so that at a certain time when the sunlight hits it, it'll like say something on the ground. So we were thinking of doing that at one end of the high school so that it shines down at the time that the plane hit the tower. So future generations on 9/11, if they go, they can see that's what time the plane hit.
That's
stuff like that.
Are any of you guys seniors?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
Matt
senior.
is.
You're a senior, Matt. I think that bears kind of bringing to people's attention. There's a fairly decent chance that this, let's call a spade, this thing won't be built before you've already graduated. So I mean, again, I think that's even worthy maybe of a little bit more congratulations and thank you that, for taking this on, kind of knowing that probably you'd be working on it when you're off doing whatever it is you do after you graduate, and to you guys as well, of course, stay with it, and if it's not done by the time you graduate, pass it on, and just keep it going. So thank you.
Mr. Carroll?
No, I think that Nick, Matt, and Anthony are so indicative of the kind of students that we have at Wilmington High School. I just am very impressed with what you've been doing. I know your committee is larger than this. I saw you when you came into that meeting with the architects, and been doing so much work with the superintendent and getting so much support. I know from Ms. Cassim and others at the school, and you really are to be congratulated. And you touched everything today, from the ideas to the importance of educating folks, and I think that's really critical and very impressive, because you I guess you guys were 7 years old or so when this happened, and to have the knowledge and the interest. And Joanne can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've visited a number of schools going through this process of trying to build a new high school, and I don't ever recall of any school that has had a 9/11 commemoration or a memorial. And I think that this is going to be very, very special for a very special school. And as Selectman Shampoo said, you're doing this for your future generations. You're not doing it, just for yourself. You're not going to be at that school, but you can really take pride in what you're accomplishing. And I think what's going to happen is, when there are going to be all kinds of tours of this school, as there inevitably will, that this will be probably the highlight of the school tour. Going in through that wonderful media center, and then going into the courtyard, and being able to embrace this kind of idea. So I'm just I'm thrilled with it, and as I've said for 20-something years, I never stop being impressed with the quality of the school students that we have, and you guys are representative of that, so thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we can still, do you have a fundraising goal? I know you mentioned fundraising, but people, that's a good thing to keep on mentioning, because if somebody wants to donate, besides going to the website or tweeting or twitting or whatever it is people do these days, what do they write the check out to?
The Wilmington 9/11 committee.
Yep.
Wilmington 9/11 Committee.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The WPS 9/11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I have that.
The WPS 9/11 Committee, so Wilmington Public Schools 9/11 Committee.
Fund.
Fund. Wilmington Public Schools 9/11 Fund.
Keep saying it, that sounds good.
We'll put that on the...
Wilmington Public Schools 9/11 Fund.
You sound like Jerry Lewis before.
And as a goal, when we talked to the architects, they said 10,000 would be a good amount to have, just so you're not limited to doing like really small. Like you have more opportunities and stuff to go with it. And right now, roughly we're around
two or three.
2,000 or 3,000. And we've started fundraising. Well, the ideas of fundraising about 3 months ago, and then so we're doing pretty good right now. And then, like I said, we're coming up with more ideas, like the wristbands that our committee thought of. And with such a large committee, the ideas just keep like rolling in and stuff. So.
Outstanding. Ms. Case, would you like to say a few words?
Just that I'm very inspired by the students that I work with. We have a committee of at least, I would say, 30 students. Not everyone comes to every meeting. Sometimes we delegate and people go back and forth. These 3 students are pretty consistent, though. We have all different grades that are part of this, including a fair number of seniors. And just before April vacation, we went to the 9/11 Memorial in New York City, and that was an amazing experience. And it was very well timed because we had the meeting with the architects, and then we went to that. And so now we're in the process of debriefing, and we're going to really get into the design elements. And I'm just very inspired overall with this project and working with these students.
Outstanding. Superintendent Benton?
I'd just like to add, first of all, thank you for having us this evening. Mark Stafford, who's the other teacher involved in this, couldn't be here this evening, but I have to give credit to Mark and to Tracy because they came to me this past summer after having taken a course in improving their own professional development on memorials. And when they were doing research, they realized that there was not a 9/11 memorial in Wilmington. And they came to me and said, we just had this idea, we'd like to get a group of students together. So they really represent all that's the best about the staff at Wilmington High, and I really appreciate all the incredible extra hours that they're giving to this group in order to have this come to fruition. They're unsung heroes because they're always in the background, and these young men, as Town Manager Carter said, represent the best and brightest at Wilmington High, so we're really, really proud of them. So thank you for having us.
Chairman Kay, would you like to say anything, add to that?
I just feel so much gratitude sitting here that we live in Wilmington, that we have so many people who care about not just Wilmington, but the world beyond us. And I think that the fact that they would come up with the idea to the teaching staff, and they're, just mentioning it to students, and you have over 30 students involved, and they'll continue to be involved. It's just incredible, and it makes me say we are a blessed community, and thank you so much for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Gentlemen, good luck with your endeavor, and I know you're going to work hard at it, and keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Enjoy those T-shirts.
Thank you. Hey, should we just adjourn now and leave on a high note?
That'd be nice.
Motion to adjourn?
It would. Okay. 7:30 is Board of Selectmen have a discussion on assignment of motions for the annual town meeting. Mr. Tyra.
Mr. Chairman, you have the warrants, as do the residents. Just for the information of any resident, all residents were mailed the Town of Wilmington's recommendation of the Finance Committee and Planning Board booklet relative to the warrant articles. So you should have received this pink booklet in the mail. If you didn't and are interested in learning more about the articles, you can either go online or you can come down to the town hall and pick one of these up. Obviously, we'll also have some available at town meeting. We would encourage people to bring their warrant book to town meeting, however, because we don't have a whole lot of extra copies since we've already distributed some 7,500 or so to the residents. The first article is actually the election article, and that's Article 1. And the election is next Saturday, April 28th. The polls open at 8 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. And residents will be asked to vote for one selectman for a term of 3 years, 2 members of the school committee for the term of 3 years, a moderator for the term of 3 years, 1 member of the housing authority for the term of 5 years, 1 member for the redevelopment authority for the term of 5 years, and 1 member of the regional vocational school committee for a term of 3 years. Each of the offices are contested with at least 1 candidate. The town clerk advised me, however, on Friday that she was notified by the candidate for the redevelopment authority, Darrell McDonald, that he no longer wished to be a candidate and wanted to withdraw. However, his name is on the ballot. Article 2 will be to hear reports of committees and act thereon, and I will be moving to take no action. The same with Article 3 relative to the purpose of paying unpaid bills of previous years. Since there are none, we'll move that article not be adopted. Article 4 would authorize the treasurer-collector with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to do a business with banks of the Commonwealth, and that motion would be offered by Chairman Smaglia. Article 5 is the budget article, which will be offered by the Finance Committee Chairman, John Doherty, and the town moderator will go through the budget, which has already been thoroughly discussed in a number of different settings and a number of different meetings, but is included as a summary document in the warrant booklet. Article 6, and we'll just go by way of seniority as we usually do, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay with you, will be a motion to purchase 4 replacement police cruisers that would be offered by Selectman McCoy. And then within that same motion, or that same article, Article 6, a motion to purchase the 1 1,250-gallon per minute pumper would be offered by Selectman Newhouse. The purchase of the replacement vacuum street sweeper and the replacement backhoe loader, both to be assigned to the Highway Division, would be offered by Selectman Shampoo. And I shouldn't assume that the Selectmen have no questions on this, but I presume that since we've been through the warrant and the discussion several times, if you want to ask a particular question, please let me know. Article number 7 is to appropriate funds for the police department for the purchase of new digital portable and mobile radios to upgrade the police communication systems. Will be offered by Selectman O'Connell. Article 8 is to appropriate funds to repair roofs at the and replace roof areas at the Wildwood Early Childhood Center, at the West Intermediate School, and at the Wilmington Memorial Library, and that would be offered by Chairman Semaglia. Article 9 would be to raise funds for the purpose of paying the cost to replace all of the windows and exterior doors at the North Intermediate School with energy efficient units. We would be looking to have our funding matched through the MSBA's Accelerated Repair Grant Program, similar to the Green Repair Program, which matched the expenditure that we made for the same type of project at the Shawshene School. This would be offered by Selectman McCoy. Article number 10 is to raise funds to repaint the interior of the Shawshene Elementary School to complement again the work that was done this past year with the windows. That would be offered by Selectman Newhouse. Article 11 would be to raise funds in order to replace the 8 existing garage doors at the Department of Public Works, which would be offered by Selectman Shampoo. Article 12 would be to appropriate monies for miscellaneous miscellaneous improvements at the various municipal and school facilities. That would be offered by Selectman O'Connell. And Article 13 is the last of the capital expenditure articles. It would be to appropriate money to put in technology improvements at the middle school, including the installation of a wireless network. That motion would be offered by the school committee. Article 14 will be the transfer article into the 2012 accounts, where we would transfer from available funds, most often from surplus accounts into any deficit spending accounts for the fiscal 2012 year. This is not new money. It would be from current funds. No new taxation is involved. And that is something that I will offer. Article 15 is for the continuation of the Senior Citizen Tax Work-Off Program, which would be offered by Chairman Semaglia. Article 16 is to raise funds for the observance of Memorial and Veterans Day, which would be offered by Selectman McCoy. Article 17 would be to appropriate $750 for the purpose of providing suitable headquarters for the VFW, which would be offered by Selectman Newhouse. Article 18 would be the standard article each year to reauthorize revolving accounts, which would be offered by Selectman Shampoo. Article 19 is the accepted streets article, and this year we are asking to have the following streets accepted. All have met planning board and engineering requirements. That's Fiorenza Drive, My Way Circle, Jake's Lane, and 2 portions of Marion Street Extension would be offered by Selectman O'Connell. Article 20 is relative to a bylaw change, a tweak, if you would, to the a bylaw relative to the curfew bylaw that was established at the last meeting relative to enforcement and penalties, and putting in that as an alternative to any criminal prosecution, that the department could use non-criminal disposition procedures and authorize a fine as opposed to going for any kind of a criminal prosecution, and that would be offered by Chairman Semaglia. Article 21 would be to accept as a gift a parcel of land on Fiorenza Drive that the town would be able to utilize for drainage purposes. That would be offered by Selectman McCoy. Article 22 would be for the purchase of the 9 Cross Street property, which is the 20-plus acres of land known as Yentile Farm, for the purpose of providing recreation and open space. That would be offered by Selectman Newhouse. And Article 23 would be to seek enactment of special legislation in order to dissolve the Wilmington Redevelopment Authority, and that would be offered by Selectman Shampoo. Those are all of the town-related articles. The balance of the articles are petitioned articles, which obviously would be up to the petitioners to bring a motion to the floor on those particular articles, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Questions or comments on that? There you go.
Just to briefly bring you an update on where we are with regard to the state budget, and this is going to be a evolutionary process. As you know, the governor brought in his first estimate of local aid, and our budget, frankly, was in line with the governor's estimate with regard to local aid. We had the opportunity to see the governor's numbers prior to having to release a final budget, and so we are essentially consistent with the major numbers in that regard. The House Ways and Means has issued its recommendation and its recommended budget, and they actually increased the two of the major areas of local aid. Chapter 70, which is aid for schools, they increased our allocation by $146,000, and unrestricted general government aid, they increased that by $152,000. Now, I would note that we actually received those funds last year, but later in the fiscal year, the same as the governor proposed this year. The governor proposed that the town receive $1,951,000 in that account, and indicated that if the revenue stream was at a level high enough in order to distribute additional funds, that he would do that to the various municipalities in the amount of about $65 million. Wilmington's share of that would be $152,000 in addition to the 1.9. The House Ways and Means apparently believe that that money will already be available. They are projecting that that money would become available in revenue in fiscal year 2013, and therefore they are including it in their budget document. We're still waiting for the Senate. The Senate is next up, and they will come up with a budget number, and then there will be a conference, and they'll get together and come up with a number, and then we'll see what that number will be and whether or not the governor would subscribe to that number or whether he would veto anything. And I fully expect that this process is going to take until June or so, as it usually does. But the news at this point is good, because we're not going backwards, we're going forward in terms of local aid, so that's always a good sign.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Communications.
We have also communications from John McCarthy, the Executive Director of the Massachusetts School Building Authority. And I didn't mean to pass over Senator Tarr or the correspondence from the Massachusetts Municipal Association, but all of what I just discussed is what they provided to us. Mr. McCarthy has written to the Superintendent of Schools to report that the Board of Directors of the Massachusetts School Building Authority voted to invite the town into the Accelerated Repair Program to collaborate with the MSBA in conducting a feasibility study at the North Intermediate School for a potential window repair replacement project. So that's that dovetails with what we are looking for at town meeting in terms of an article. This was good news. I believe I may have reported at the last meeting that there were some 67 or so communities that applied for grants under this program, and they have selected 19 to move forward with. Wilmington was one of those 19. The board has a memorandum from me relative to appointments and reappointments that they typically make at their first meeting following the town meeting. And just to indicate to you, Mr. Chairman, there will be an appointment to the Board of Appeals, a 5-year term to expire in 2017. The incumbent, Robert Spencer, has indicated that he would decline reappointment, and therefore there is that vacancy. The Board of Registrars, there is a 3-year term to expire in 2015. The incumbent is Alice Hooper. Ms. Hooper has indicated that she would like to be reappointed. As you know, we wrote the letter to the chairperson of the Democratic Town Committee, as is required by state statute, to notify them of the appointment, and they can, if they would like, send to the Board of Selectmen nominees. There are 2-year terms that will expire in the Council for the Arts, and the following individuals are interested in reappointment: Sarah Campbell, Jean Chang, Marguerite Eli, and Barbara Forrestall. And also a 1-year term to expire in 2013 on the advisory board, Linda Malloy. There are 2 positions. There are 1-year terms on the as fence viewers. The board recalls that they appointed fence viewers last year, Anthony Pronsky Jr. and John T. Spalding. Their terms will be up, and you will need to appoint or reappoint. And the town council's position, which is also an annual position, in this case, does not expire until June 30th. The incumbent, of course, is town council John Foskett from the law firm Deutsch, Williams, Brooks, Durensis, and Holland. The board is also asked to appoint constables for one-year terms to expire in June 30th of 2013. And those individuals who currently serve in that capacity include Paul Bruce Jr., Alan Hunter, Charles E. Rooney Jr. All of those have no restrictions. And then the following...
Alan Hunter?
I'm sorry?
Alan Hunter?
Alan Hunter, yes.
Well, there's Alan, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, did I not say that?
That's all right.
Okay, yep, Paul Bruce, Alan Hunter, and Charles Rooney. And then the following constables do have a restriction in terms of not being able to solicit clients, but they have authority to serve civil process for clients who need service into Wilmington, and they are John Bridges Jr., Ronald DiGiorgio, Wilfred Lambert, John Milano, David Muskovitz, William F.A. Pepicelli, John J. Ruwine, Anthony Saya, and William J. Zampel Jr., and finally Ellen Davis Sawyer, only in conjunction with the duties that she has as an animal control officer. So those appointments will need to be made at the next meeting. You also have letters from Paul Bruce, Ronald DiGiorgio, and John Ruwine, all expressing their interest in reappointment as a constable. And as the board knows, the constable appointments, before they're made, we do go through the police chief for a background check and a review, and also the town clerk, and they all have to provide a bond. The board has correspondence from the Reverend Danny DeGoog, who is president and founder of the Seminary of the Americas, relative to his opposition to the makeup of the state flag and seal of Massachusetts. The Reverend DeGoog wrote, I believe, to all of the municipalities in the Commonwealth to express his opposition to what he believes is a racist and violent flag, the Massachusetts flag, and is looking for any support that any of the communities might bring to remove that as the flag of the Commonwealth. So I bring that to the board's attention because it was sent to the Board of Selectmen.
Questions or comments from the board?
Just file it, I guess.
Yeah.
It rambles on and on.
It does indeed.
It's hard to get a grasp on what direction it's going.
The board is being asked to consider the request of Sharon George, town clerk, to appoint an additional election worker for 2012, specifically James Buckley, and request that the board consider that appointment.
Questions, comments? Excuse me, or a motion?
Move to approve James Buckley of 6 Pinewood to as an election worker for this year's election.
Second?
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous.
The board is being asked to consider a request of Christina Stewart, the library director, to use the town common parking lot in the Swain Green area for the 3rd annual community fair on Saturday, September 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mrs. Stewart notes that they were pleased with the success of last year's community fair, where they estimated more than 400 residents came by the fair. Again, their goal is to connect Wilmington residents with the network of service organizations in the area, as well as bring residents together to celebrate Wilmington's 282nd birthday. Last year, they held a Wilmington birthday cake contest, and this year they'll be sponsoring a contest called Wilmington Through Art, where residents will be invited to submit artwork depicting Wilmington. And so Mr. Stewart appreciates the support that has been provided in the past by the Board of Selectmen and would request that the board consider authorizing that this event go on again this year on the town common.
Are there any conflicts? Date with the date?
The date is okay.
Any other questions or comments or motion? Excuse me, I move that we grant the request of the library director.
Second?
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, the board has being asked to consider a request of Daniel Bamberg for a one-day alcohol license for a dinner and dance to raise funds for the St. Thomas Appalachian Mountain Project. The event would be held at the Villanova Hall on Saturday, May 12th, from 6:30 p.m. to midnight. Chief Pagonis did review, and he recommends approval of the one-day alcohol license. He indicates that the recommendation is based on the understanding of the purpose of this event is a fundraiser, and it has been something that the board has supported in the past. And if the board so desires, they have also waived any fee for the nonprofit.
That's a great organization. They do wonderful work. They leave every year. They leave St. Thomas and they go down to, excuse me, down Louisiana or Mississippi and other states that have been affected by either hurricanes, and they rebuild their houses and everything. It's a great organization. Any questions, comments, or motion?
I think I ought to, I can't remember what I've done in the past, but I'm a member of the organization, and I think given the circumstances, I'm probably going to abstain from voting on this motion, but I appreciate your kind words about the organization. Thank you.
Therefore, I'd make a motion in favor as described by the town manager and waive the license fee.
Second. Motion made second. All in favor? All in favor, one abstention?
And if any of you would like tickets to the event, you can come see me after.
Board is being asked to consider a request of Khalid Hazemeh to obtain a hawk and pedal license to sell ice cream. Again, this was request, as always, is reviewed by the chief of police, and he recommends approval of the application for the hawk and pedal permit and the application for the permit to hawk and pedal it, requested by Mr. Hazemeh. Their review has determined there's no evidence to hinder being granted the permit and the license.
Questions, comments, or motion?
I would move to approve the hawk and pedal license to Khalid Hazemeh, Tony's Ice Cream.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, the board is being asked to consider a request of the Wilmington band parents and friends to sell coffee, donuts, popcorn, cold drinks, and balloons during the Memorial Day parade. And they would be required to obtain all the necessary permits if the board so chooses to give them the approval, permits from the Board of Health.
Okay, and this is something also that they've been doing for
They've been doing
many
this for years, yes, sir.
That's right. Any questions, comments, or motion?
Move to grant the request.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Thank you. Board is being asked to consider the request from Deborah Cipriani, the Recreation Director, to use the town common and gazebo for the summer concert series on the Wednesdays in July, specifically July 11, 18, 25, and then on August 1st. With rain dates in each event for the Thursday, for the following day. So the Wednesdays would be July 11th, July 18th, July 25th, and August 1.
And I take it there's no conflicts with the Wednesday evenings there?
No, sir.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or a motion?
Move to grant the request.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments. Mr. McCall.
It's been brought to my attention, and I've also experienced not receiving the warrant article book in the mail, and I was wondering if you could address that.
You yourself haven't received, or?
Other people that I've talked to haven't received it.
Have you received it, Kevin?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, if you need to receive, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, they go out from the post office. I believe they began going out at the end of last week.
14th,
Right, and they should have all been distributed at this point. We do have copies, and after the meeting, I'd be happy to provide anybody in this room that didn't receive one a copy of the warrant book.
The other question I have is concerning the Crockmall Farm. I was wondering what type of effort that this board has put forth to meet with the Crockmall Farm to see if there could be some type of collaboration between the towns and the farm to actually help the Crockmall Farm address the odor problem. I was wondering if you had any engineering ideas, and if anything has been looked at where we could take our yard waste that gets put at the recycling center and maybe have Crockmall bring dumpsters there, and it gets put into the dumpsters, and maybe his soil gets covered with that, and to keep the stench down. And also maybe if collectively the towns could take their soil that is a byproduct from the composting to cover up that area, to see if we could eradicate that problem.
I know we had him in here a year plus ago, maybe, the Crockmalls, to discuss that. I'm not sure what you're talking about as far as bringing our yard waste there. That might be something that we could address with them. I'm not sure that's where it's private.
I was trying to.
If you would like to say something on that, Mike.
Well, certainly the manager can supplement my thoughts. The Wilmington Health Department and the Board of Health and the town acting through the town manager, and actually some time ago the chairman had asked me to participate in those sessions with town council. Long story short is the town has continued to communicate with representatives of the farm. In fact, it's either last week or 2 weeks. Things go by fast, Mike, but 2 weeks ago now.
McConnell was at the meeting.
2 weeks ago, there was a meeting, and I would assume that we'll be hearing from the Health Department and Council imminently as to the results of that. So I'm not sure what other details, Judy, you might have gleaned at that meeting, but
It was an
executive session, so it's not for release, but there are active efforts being generated on behalf of both towns to work together to derive a mutually beneficial plan, working in conjunction with the farm that meets state standards and is in accordance with the law. So as soon as that information is available and can be made public, it will be. But it is being actively worked on.
If you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
yes, I just want to add, I should have started my comments by saying that there is pending litigation regarding that. That's the real basic piece of information that I should have mentioned. So that's why when there are meetings in executive session and we kind of characterize the fact that there are efforts that are ongoing through council's office, that's why we can't get into a whole lot of detail.
So am I correcting in assuming that there is a lawsuit against the Crockmall Farm?
It goes back procedurally, Mike. Did we appeal the site assignment in Tewksbury, or did we bring a complaint in equity? I can't remember how it originated because it's literally been years, but it's in Superior Court, and council's been involved literally for 4 years now, 5 years. Time goes by so fast. So there are, and I would say this, that in any case that could go to trial, there are various milestones in the process at which it makes sense for the parties to communicate and to talk and to try and work out the problem, and that has happened at various milestones.
No, I think that's, it sounds like what Ms. McDonald was suggesting was whether or not there's any effort to work with Crockmall to come up with some type of a mutually agreeable solution. That's exactly what the board has been doing through the Board of Health and through my office and through representatives of the boards, that there has been settlement-type discussion to try to find a resolution to a very difficult problem, because the Commonwealth has consistently come down on the side of, through the Department of Agriculture, that there is a right to farm. And we've consistently taken the position that when it interferes with the quality of life, that becomes problematic. So we are dealing with Crockmouth. The Board of Health is also dealing with the other company in that area, which we also believe is a source of odors, and that too is being dealt with by Town Council.
That was actually my next point. Thanks for making that, because it seemed to me that diplomacy would get us a solution a lot faster than a court case, and would save us money in attorney's fees.
Let me just make the point that we're not paying anything in attorney's fees. I know this is a hard concept for some folks to understand, and I'm saying that politely, that people believe that if you have if Wilmington is engaged in a lawsuit, that we're paying monies for attorney fees. We have a fixed fee, as has been explained by a number of members of the board over the years. So it is advantageous to the town when you have a fixed fee, because most often nobody else does. So it's usually the other side, the litigant on the other side, that has to worry about court cost and legal costs, and the town has the opportunity not to have to worry about that. And that, believe me, having not had that opportunity for a few years during my 22 years here, it's a great luxury to be able to meet with somebody else and know that you can follow through and do whatever has to be done without having to worry about the cost to litigate. That's a good feeling.
Any other public comments? Okay. New business committee reports.
Start with you.
Sure.
Wow, starting. No, I don't have committee reports. I'll just say that tonight was inspiring. The high school hockey team all being here motivated me and moved me, and it was a good way to start the meeting. We went from that inspirational couple of moments to the three young men talking about the 9/11 Memorial Committee. So again, talk about going a 1-2 punch of really some pretty positive stuff. So I just want to commend all of the youth throughout Wilmington for all the great things that are happening in this town from an athletic standpoint, as well as the memorial activities and others. There's a lot of other kids that are doing a lot of great things, so kudos to them all. I also want to just sort of remind folks, I know Mr. Carr is going to go through important dates in just a few moments, but two big ones that I want to make sure everyone hear and hear frequently are this Saturday, the 28th, is Election Day. You know, everyone has I would say, an obligation to participate in that process. Polls open at 8, and go and be a participant in the electoral process by conveying your vote. And then again, please do so at town meeting on May 5th. Again, it was moving to see the inspiring attendance at our special town meeting that we had recently for the high school. Filling that gymnasium and watching the democratic process happen in such large volume, to me, was very inspiring. And hopefully those of you that were at that meeting will feel the same inspiration and come and be a participant at the May 5th town meeting this year. So please mark those dates on your calendar, and we'll look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Well, just to add to that, obviously some great things going on in the education and athletic arena, so certainly great to be a part of that. I also wanted to acknowledge Wilmington Little League for inviting us to participate in the parade this past weekend. That certainly was an enjoyable experience, seeing all the boys and girls get off to a great start, as I know a lot of the other athletic programs in town are off to a great start here for the spring and heading into the summer. Obviously, Mr. Shampoo talked about the other important dates relative to the town election and also the town meeting. And also, I just wanted to say to this board, appreciate the spirit and enthusiasm coming out tonight for the hockey team. I think it's important, as you try and do serious business, to have a humorous side and some levity to situations and have some town spirit. So I didn't put the wig on because I actually pay to have blonde put in every 6 weeks. So I'm due for that appointment next week, so I'm a little shy on the blonde. But I also wanted to say that I'm happy that we're all wearing blue, and I certainly know that Mr. Newhouse had brought it up last meeting about autism awareness, so I certainly will save comments for other people to make. But all in all, I think tonight was a very positive and productive meeting, and I'm looking forward to the weeks and months ahead. Thank you.
Having brought it up at the last meeting, just thank you to the board for recognizing Autism Awareness Month, and hopefully we do some participate in a small way in raising the level of awareness at what is truly an issue, a health issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
No, Mr. Chairman, I think it's all been said. I'll just say it's been a really good, upbeat, nice meeting tonight. Thank you.
That's right, and it has all been said, and I just want to say once before, like I said many times that I've said before, is I'm proud to be the chair of this board. Coming together tonight, wearing the blue for an amazing cause that, like Mr. Newhouse said, we have to help to get the word out any way we can, even if it's just a little way. We've done it in the past before with breast cancer. We've all wore pink, and a little self-humility is not bad every now and then, and wearing some wigs tonight, and I didn't go with the wigs. I didn't realize we were taking it off after the team left, but it seemed like when we came in, the team really enjoyed seeing us in our little way supporting them. And thank you as a board again, all for sticking together. Thank you.
I challenge the press to not run those pictures.
It's already up.
They're probably already streamed.
Okay, important dates.
Important dates, Mr. Chairman. We are going this week through the curbside collection of yard waste. Put out your leaves at the curbside, and we will be picking them up on your regular trash days. You also have an opportunity to drop brush off at the Old Main Street location, the recycling center, on April 25th, which is Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., or on April 28th, which is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is a Saturday. Also, as has been mentioned, the town election, the polls open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, April 28th. On that same date, either after or before you go to vote, you might want to go down to the Public Safety Building for National Drug Take-Back Day. That's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Information has been distributed both in town topics, it's on the website, it's been put in the newspapers. It's an opportunity for people to get rid of medication, prescription medication that they no longer need. They can just bring it down. It's anonymous. You just deposit it. It's being done in conjunction with the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration, and we are able to properly dispose of those unwanted medications for you. Please, it never makes sense to just toss them away in the trash or to put them down the toilet. It's best to bring them back to the Public Safety Building, and you have that opportunity on Saturday, April 28th. Just a notification, the Recreation Department's very popular program, Tiny Tots and Kids Club. Registration is April 30th here at the Town Hall. That's on Monday. It's from 5 to 6:30 p.m. We have brush drop-off again on May 2nd and May 5th. Also on May 5th, the annual town meeting begins at 10:30 a.m. It's at the high school gymnasium, and as soon as there is a quorum present, I'm sure that the moderator intends to kick that meeting off. May 6th, a reminder that the Women of Wilmington will be hosting their charitable run walk for Wilmington. It was a very successful event. It raises funds for various charities. It's at the Town Common, and it kicks off at 11 a.m. Again, there is brush drop-off on May 9th at the Old Main Street from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let people know that the Good Guy Award Dinner is on May 11th. That Household Hazardous Waste Day, all these events are taking place before the next meeting, and Household Hazardous Waste Day is to be held at the West Intermediate School from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Gives people an opportunity to get rid of products, chemicals, paints, etc., that they cannot dispose in the regular trash. They can do so for free by just bringing it with them. You don't even have to get out of your car, open your trunk or your back seat, and it'll be taken out for you. And then brush drop-off again on May 12th. The Selectmen meet next on the 14th. I do want to mention that we are having a surplus vehicle and equipment auction that is essentially going on now as we speak. The sealed bids are due on May 17th. Bid opening is at 11 a.m. We're accepting bids for surplus vehicles and equipment. If you're interested in knowing what that equipment list is, you can either go to the DPW or go to the DPW website or come to the town hall, and we have a list of the items along with a bid sheet that describes what it is you need to do if you're interested in submitting a bid. The sale of these surplus vehicles, the monies by bylaw go right into our capital stabilization fund, where we've raised thousands of dollars, and folks have had an opportunity to get a vehicle or a piece of equipment for for little money in most cases. There are things like Crown Vics, a couple of former ambulances that were used, a few Ford Rangers. Most of these are very old, with mileage, 150,000 hard miles when they go into the police department, 140,000 miles. So we're not promising you a rose garden. However, if you're interested in one of these items, you're welcome to bid. Mr. Chairman, I also want to let people know that we celebrated, as the board is well aware, the 20th anniversary of the Wilmington Food Pantry yesterday, and kudos to Bob DePalma for being such a part of that for 20 years. It was a nice turnout, and I know the board extended their gratitude to the Wilmington Community Fund of the Food Pantry.
What do you got there?
And we have here an annual report that's hot off the presses. If anybody is interested, we'll have the reports available in my office, but also will be available both at the election and at town meeting. We were hoping to be able to hold up the companion piece, which is the new town calendar. They're due to be delivered tomorrow. So we missed that opportunity by a day, but we'll also, for those folks who have been calling the office looking for the new calendar, it will be available tomorrow. I would request that maybe you might want to come by on Wednesday as opposed to tomorrow, just in case it comes in late in the day. And we will also distribute the calendars to both the town election and town meeting. Thank you for allowing me to get that plug in, Mr. Chairman, and that's it.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.